did. Thousands of jobs, billions of dollars in revenue coming to Louisiana, a new, clean, productive industry that attracts bright young people to work in the films, to work behind the scenes, to do accounting, to do all the kind of support positions you want. Government has an appropriate role to create incentives for industries that are going to benefit the population at large. And that's where you draw the line. You identify what is going to help. You have accountability and measuring sticks in it to prove it's working.
Candidate Dardenne. Question 6 of 9. Should tax policy be used as incentives for specific industries? Where would you draw the line? Candidate Villere.
Well, as Candidate Dardenne, I have a vision too, but my vision is to get the government out of picking winners and losers in business. I think what we need to do is make Louisiana a better place for everyone to have business. I think we need to have entrepreneurs who want to grow their own business, small businesses that are in Louisiana that are doing well right now or that are struggling. Let's help them out. Let's help them create more jobs. Let's help them grow. Let's make this an atmosphere where everyone can do good, not where the government is selecting which industry is going to do good and which industry is not going to do good, because then you have winners and losers decided by government bureaucrats. So that's my vision.
Thank you, Candidate Villere. We move on to question 7 of 9, and we'll be starting with Candidate Dardenne. If you were to succeed to the governorship for some unforeseen reason, would you propose any sweeping changes or maintain the current governor's initiatives? Candidate Dardenne.
Well, we've made tremendous progress in the past several years under Governor Jindal's leadership. There's no question about that. Anybody who takes that office is going to bring to that seat their own ideas on things that ought to be done differently, changing probably some policies, particularly as it relates to economic development initiatives you're going to go after. But I think by and large, Louisiana is absolutely headed in the right direction now. We started this direction back in the Mike Foster years, implementing dramatic changes in governmental policy to bring businesses to Louisiana, to reduce taxes, to make government more accountable and more responsible. We're struggling in the wake of the storms. We're struggling in the wake of the oil spill. But I believe continuing the policies that are looking toward the future on how we can stimulate growth in this state is exactly what we need to continue doing.
Thank you, Candidate Dardenne. Question 7 of 9. If you were to succeed to the governorship for some unforeseen reason, would you propose any sweeping changes or maintain the current governor's initiatives? Candidate Villere.
Well, obviously, we're moving in the right direction. Our current governor and legislature are working hard to move us in the right direction. But I think they need leadership. I think that we need to look at everything we're doing. I think we have to set some strong priorities. I think we need to look at how we can take government out of our everyday pockets. I think what we need to do is see how we can offer opportunities and new programs to get the government away from just charging more and more taxes. And one of the things that I'd like to do is get rid of state income tax, because if we can do that, we can create an atmosphere where Louisiana can grow, where new businesses can start, people can come back, retirees will come here, our kids and grandkids, our nieces and nephews that have left. This will create opportunity for them. So this is what I'd like to do.
Thank you, Candidate Villere. And let's hear from Candidate Kershaw. If you were to succeed to the governorship for some unforeseen reason, would you propose sweeping changes or maintain the current governor's initiatives?
Here's what I would do. The current governor's, his folks would still be in place. But I can guarantee you, because I don't make promises. Promises may be broken. But I can guarantee you this. If something should happen to the governor, I'm ready to step in and do what I have to do and hold the fort down just long enough to have a special election where the people of the state can elect the governor that they want to run the state. But I can guarantee you another thing. My name won't be on that ballot. I will go back to promoting the state to the world. That's what I know best. That's what I do best. And that's my guarantee to you folks, the whole state of Louisiana. You can still have the governor that you want. I'll go back to promoting.
Thank you to candidate Kershaw. We're going to start with candidate Villere. Question 8 of 9. What is your position on Arizona's SB 1070, and that encourages law enforcement to check immigration status?
I support that.
Thank you, candidate Villere. Threw off my time clock for the TV show now. Let's hear from candidate Kershaw. What is your position on Arizona's SB 1070 that encourages local law enforcement to check immigration status?
I think, it wouldn't bother me if they asked me, if you're legal in this country, you have nothing to worry about. If you're illegal, then I guess it would have to be a tough life to look behind your shoulder all the time. I couldn't do it. There's no way. We need our borders closed, and I feel strongly about that. I have for years. And like I said, if you're legal, why should it bother you? It shouldn't bother you. You're an American. It shouldn't bother you. But if you're illegal, I can understand where it would bother you. So I'm for the law. I am. I think the things that have happened to the United States in the past, I think that anytime law enforcement has probable cause for anything, I think they should be able to be allowed to do their job. And that's their job. And I just can't figure out why people have to hammer law enforcement so much. That's their job. It's to protect and serve. And if they have a reason to believe that somebody's illegal or somebody's in this country here to harm us, I think they should be able to ask any question they have to ask to get the right answer to protect Americans, legal Americans.
Thank you, candidate Kershaw. Question 8 of 9. What is your position on Arizona's SB 1070 that encourages local law enforcement to check immigration status? Candidate Dardenne.
I support it. I know Governor Brewer well. She was Secretary of State in Arizona before she became governor. I was very proud of that initiative that came out of that state. And what we're seeing and what you're seeing, and it's why you're here today, is the frustration at states across this country having to be named as defendants in lawsuits filed by the United States government. What's wrong with this picture? It's what's happening there. It's what's happening here with a punitive and politically motivated moratorium on drilling that is taking jobs from Louisianians who don't want handouts but want to work. They want to get a paycheck, they want to go to work, and their biggest obstacle right now is the federal government. That's what's wrong with the picture.
Thank you, candidate Dardenne. Question 9 of 9. We're going to start with candidate Kershaw. What is your position on the Gulf oil drilling moratorium?
They need to lift it right away. It's the lifeblood of Louisiana. It's, it's the spill that happened in the Gulf is not something that's normal. It doesn't happen all the time. The only one that I can remember was, and I was a boy, it was 1973. It was in the southern part of the Gulf. It was a Mexican-owned oil company. Iztac, I believe the name was, and leaked for a year in the Gulf. Texas cleaned up their border on their own nickel, cleaned up their coast on their own nickel for a year. But that's the only one that I can remember. I think the knee-jerk reactions, I don't think they should have put a moratorium on us just yet. Okay, put more inspectors out there, make sure they're right, but to stop us it's just killing so many jobs in Louisiana. And what people don't understand around the country is that eventually they're going to feel it. But I'm trying to let some of them folks around the country know now so they can jump in now before it's just entirely too late. You know, they're gonna be hit hard too, and I don't think they realize that yet. And of course, the press, some of the press is not going to help us with that. So that's where some of us have to take it upon ourselves to jump in front of TV cameras or behind radio microphones and say, hey, look, folks, yeah, we're hurting right now, but in just a little bit of time from now, you're going to be too. So we need your help. Let's get this moratorium off.
Thank you, Candidate Kershaw. Candidate Dardenne, what is your position on the Gulf oil drilling moratorium?
Well, I've already stated it, but I'll do it again, obviously, and I think you'll have unanimity from us on this. We're all against the moratorium. It's foolish, it's pointless, it's punitive, and it's depriving Louisianians of the opportunity to work. I think it will be lifted, hopefully, in the near future when it's politically appropriate to do it for the president. That's what will drive that decision. But it points up the importance of this office, the office of Lieutenant Governor, who is going to be the person who is going to have to convince the rest of America and the rest of the world that our seafood is safe to eat, that it's abundant, that it's plentiful, that it's safe. And this is the job that is going to await your next Lieutenant Governor. Convincing America and the world that Louisiana is the place to visit, that we're not awash in oil, and that our seafood is not contaminated. We need the right person as the ambassador, as the salesperson, as the spokesperson to promote Louisiana to everyone outside of our state so they'll come and visit, they'll come and invest, they'll come and retire.
Thank you, Candidate Dardenne. Candidate Villere, what is your position on the Gulf oil drilling moratorium?
Well, as our other candidates say, this is a terrible thing that's been put on the state of Louisiana and the whole Gulf South. I think what you have to look at is the 10th Amendment to our Constitution. Is the federal government able to do this? Should we stand up for them? Should we stand up for our rights? They're destroying our economy. They're destroying the economy of the whole Gulf because of political agenda that the president has. And I think what we need to do is have our congressional delegation and the congressional delegation of all our southern states come together, and we need to work to lift this moratorium. We need to work to stop the federal government from coming in and demanding that we do things that are hurting and punitive to us. So I'm completely against it and would work hard as Lieutenant Governor to repeal it and to do away with it.
Thank you, Candidate Villere. And ladies and gentlemen, that completes the first section of our question and answer debate. Are you enjoying yourselves? Are you learning anything of our candidates? You know, call me a British-born American. I didn't understand why there were only 9 questions. My 10th question would have been, do any of our candidates support changing the Constitution so that British-born citizens can become president? But the Tea Party wouldn't let me ask that one. I actually want to just say how lovely this debate is. It is nice to hear such intelligent and passionate responses regardless of who we're voting for. Isn't it nice that we've got such nice candidates? Thank you both very much indeed. And of course, Candidate Kershaw. Now, we've completed the open response section of today's debate, and we're now going to begin with the yes or no. Now, we had this really well organized. Unfortunately, we've got some absentees RSVPs, which is going to be slightly strange because these are going to be quick-fire questions where you were only allowed to say yes or no. But because we didn't edit Candidate Kershman's tape, the questions are on that. So do you think if you let that run, you could, after he's spoken, and that way I don't have to repeat the question over and over and over? Does that sound reasonable? Should we try it? Do you know what I mean? After he's given his answer, quickly press pause. Then I can ask the 2 live candidates. Not that he's dead,